Our top focus on WION right now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will be back in court later today after testifying for almost 5 hours on day one of his trial in corruption charges. He dismissed corruption charges against him as ridiculous in court on Tuesday. He rejected the charges, saying there's no corruption, no fraud committed by him. He also lashed out at the media, saying most of the Israeli public were right-wing, but the media was 98% on the other side. Towards the end of his testimony, Netanyahu responded on the charge of receiving favorable coverage on the Vala news website, which is owned by his close friend, Shaul Eleventovich, and that in exchange for easing the way for a telecom merger sought by him. In particular, the prosecutors alleged that this scheme was agreed upon at a dinner in 2012 in which Netanyahu and his wife Sarah hosted Eleventovich. Netanyahu further argued that there was no agreement, no bribery even after the dinner. He continued that Vala at that time, it was extraordinarily not that great towards him and that this did not improve over the next period of time. Hundreds of demonstrators and the onlookers gathered outside the Tel Aviv courthouse on Tuesday. Many chanted for Netanyahu to be brought to justice, but some of his supporters called the allegations against Bibi false. As per reports, for the second day of his testimony, the Israeli Prime Minister is scheduled to appear at a Tel Aviv court at 2:30 p.m. local time. He is Israel's first sitting Prime Minister to face criminal trial. Bibi is facing charges of bribery, fraud and breach of public trust in 3 different cases. In the first case, Netanyahu and his wife Sarah are accused of accepting more than $260,000 worth of luxury goods such as cigars, jewelry and champagne from billionaire benefactors, and all this in exchange for political favors. In the second case, it involves alleged attempts by the Prime Minister to reach a deal with publisher of a popular Israeli daily for better coverage by agreeing to weaken the status of a rival daily newspaper. While the third case is related to allegedly receiving favorable media coverage from the Vala news site. And well, for more on this, we're now being joined by our correspondent, Jody Cohen from Ranana. Hi, Jody. First up, Prime Minister Netanyahu is appearing in court today as a part of his trial. First of all, can you outline what all happened on day one and what are we expecting today? We do know that he is scheduled to appear in court at 2:30 p.m. local time.
Hi, Risha. So on the opening day, Prime Minister Netanyahu's attorney suggested that there are many holes in the cases against Netanyahu. For example, he suggested that interpreting seeking positive media coverage as bribery is a made-up crime and does not apply to any other politician. And Netanyahu suggested that he'd in fact received negative media coverage. Now, I spoke with protesters outside the court yesterday. Opponents believe that Netanyahu should resign at least until after the trial, but there were actually more supporters of Bibi outside court yesterday than opponents, and his supporters believe that the court should delay proceedings at least until after the war. Now, the court said that it would consider pauses if matters arise that need the Prime Minister's attention, and that actually happened yesterday. So day one ended earlier than scheduled. Now, today's day two. Netanyahu is expected to take the witness stand again later this afternoon. He'll be questioned further by the defence, and then there'll be a pause in proceedings until Monday.
Right, Jody, also talk to us about how Israel has clearly said that it struck 350 targets in Syria. My question to you is that, is this risking extending the war further in West Asia, and what has been the response in Israel?
Right, so the UN has said that it opposes Israel's strikes in Syria. The IDF said that they destroyed around 70 to 80% of Syria's strategic weapons, which Israel was concerned could have ended up in hostile hands, not just as a threat to Israel, but to others too. Now, former IDF spokesperson Jonathan Conricus said that when Libyan dictator Colonel Gaddafi was ousted, terrorists from across the world looted the bunkers and distributed lethal weapons far and wide. And he said that's what Israel is preventing from happening in Syria now. And he suggested that far from criticizing, the world should be thanking Israel. Now, the Israeli Navy and Air Force destroyed most of the strategic weapons stockpiles, including, they said, long-range projectiles, Scud, cruise, coast-to-sea and air defense missiles, Navy ships, fighter jets and helicopters, tanks, radars and more. And Prime Minister Netanyahu said that Israel will do whatever's necessary to ensure its security.
Right, Jody, we'll of course be tracking all that is happening in West Asia very closely with you. That was our correspondent, Jody Cohen, joining us live from Renana in Israel.